Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Rolanda Anderson, and today I want to talk to you about how to plan your dissertation in a step-by-step process to help reduce stress and to make the process much easier for you. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe to my videos. So one of the biggest questions that I hear people ask is, how can I finish my dissertation fast? How fast can I complete my dissertation? And a lot of times I get that question from students in two phases. When they first enter the doctoral program, and then the next one is once they have gotten their dissertation committee and then they're starting to write their dissertation. However, when students ask me that question on the front end, the first thing I always say is find a topic that you're interested in. That's key. So if you are still in your doctoral classes and have not gotten your dissertation committee yet, go ahead and pick a topic that interests you, and vice versa. Even if you are in the writing process, if you haven't decided on a topic, just start to think about topics that interest you, because if you decide to pick a topic that is not of interest, it's just going to be just that much harder for you to complete. Can you imagine writing 100 to 200 page document about something you don't even like? So definitely choose a topic that you're interested in. The next thing you want to do, once again, if you're still working in your doctoral classes, what you might find useful is to always write, if you have a writing assignment, always write your assignments based on a topic that you feel that will benefit your literature review section of your dissertation. So please keep this in mind. Every paper that you can write on that is going to benefit your literature review, every homework assignment should be on that topic. The next thing you want to keep in mind, though, is to make sure that that literature that you are using is current. I would say preferably 1 to 3 years. If you can find information within 1 to 2 years, that's even more beneficial, because if you start too early, some of that information may be outdated by the time you begin writing your dissertation. So please keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind, the more that you write, the more that you read about your topic, that will give you an opportunity to start to think about the gap. What is missing in the research that you can bring to this literature? So as you begin to read, you always want to find out what is it that they did not find. So when you read these documents, always look in the results section, read the abstract, read recommendations for future research. I always keep those in mind. And if I was y'all, would jot down what the future recommendations are, what any limitations were, to try to keep a file together so you will know what's missing, what needs to be done in the literature, what's already been done. So as you begin to work on your document, you already have an idea of what the problem is. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is start to think about the methodology that you want to use. Do you want it to be a quantitative or a qualitative study? That's key. One reason one reason you should think about that is because you definitely want to pick the method that you're most comfortable with. If you're more comfortable working with numbers, I suggest you pick a quantitative study. If you're more comfortable with interviewing and reading tons of literature and categorizing that information to develop themes, then I would suggest that you conduct a qualitative study. However, either one you pick is fine, but you definitely want to make sure that you are comfortable with choosing with whatever method that you choose, because you will have to discuss why you chose this method later within your study, as well as within your proposal and dissertation defense. So always keep that in mind. Another thing you should keep in mind is your framework. As you begin to read tons of literature, start to jot down different frameworks that you think that will benefit your study. The reason that I say that is because your framework will guide your study from your focus statement to your purpose statement to your problem statement, as well as your research questions. All of those different statements, as well as your questions, have to align with or support your framework. So please make sure that once you begin to work on your document, that you do keep your framework in mind, because the framework will help to guide your study. The framework will also help to guide your research questions, your interview questions that you have, or your survey instrument that you have. So please keep in mind that your framework is just not something you put in your document and leave it there. It actually is supposed to support your study. And that's one of the common issues that I find with a lot of doctoral students, is that they don't know how to align the framework with the study. They say, oh, well, this framework works with this study, but they have a hard time marrying the framework to the study to help guide the study. So please keep that in mind. So now you know how to go up. You have some key steps on picking a great topic, something that you're interested in. You already know that you need to think about your methodology. You need to start to think about your framework as well. So now once you have all of that in place, the next thing that I would do is to get on the internet, go to a database, whether it was maybe ProQuest, maybe one that you want to go to, and find a dissertation that's similar to what you want to do. That has the same methodology that you want to use, and the write up is similar to what you want to do, one that you are comfortable with. So once you find a dissertation that you feel like, oh, okay, this writing style is just similar to mine, I like the structure of this study, then that's the one that I would suggest that you choose to help you to create the flow of your dissertation. Okay, so the next thing you want to do after you have found a dissertation that you feel that you can use to help to guide you, you may want to go ahead and start to think about how many sections you want to complete first. So if you've already been collecting information for your literature review throughout your program, by this point you should have already thought about the different headings that you want to use for your study. And if you have not figured that out yet, I suggest that you look at other dissertations of similar topics to try to help you decide on what themes you want to use. Also keep in mind that a literature review is like building a house. So one theme has to build upon the next theme. Okay, so keep that in mind. Another thing you want to think about is what chapter you want to work on first. Some schools say, hey, I want you to work on chapter 2 first. Well, if you already started working on this when you were in your classes, you've already done that. Some schools suggest that you start on chapter 3 first and then do chapter 1 last, because chapter 1 is just a summary of 1 and 3. So it's totally up to you and your school which one you decide to do first. However, you do want to create a plan to say how many sections I want to get done each week. So you might want to say, hey, I want to do 1 section a week. Now, I honestly prefer for my students to do only 1 to 2 sections a week, mainly because they don't get overwhelmed with too much information. And then when they give that document back to me for review, I don't have a ton, or I'm not overwhelmed with information, just like they're not overwhelmed with trying to do too much at one time. So also, if you only do like 1 or 2 sections at a time, it kind of helps you to stay in constant communication with your professor, if your professor likes to work that way as well. Okay, so now once you've done that, you start to work on your plan of how many sections you want to complete each week. Then you'll start thinking about your participants, which you've probably already thought about that a while ago, but now you can start thinking about, where are you going to get these participants from? Are you going to get them from a school or a hospital or a clinic? Where are you going to get them from? So after you make that decision, then you can start thinking about, okay, who do I need to ask for permission from? So once you find that out, you can go ahead and start to write your letter and start to reach out to the person or persons that you need to get in contact with, so you can start getting that permission. And then at that point, you should feel more comfortable in saying, hey, I can go ahead and start this study. But however, you don't want to actually ask for permission until you have gotten with your committee and they are all in, your chair is definitely in support of you conducting your study. So if you follow all of these steps, I gave you 10 steps or 10 different steps that you can use to help you to plan a less stressful dissertation process, and I hope that you find these steps very helpful. Once again, please like and subscribe to my video. I also have some courses down below too that you might want to take if you feel like you need more assistance with the dissertation and the different requirements within each section. So at any rate, I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.